everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. This is my first video, so I'm really excited to share with you how I plan my finances. I'm going to start by sharing with you how I put together a budget. So if you're new to budgeting, this is definitely for you. I do want to cover everything that you need to write down in a budget to make sure that you take care of all of the important things. Budgeting is a tool that I used, and it definitely helped me pay off a lot of debt and also start saving. It helped me to know where my money was going, and also it's important to tell your money where to go as well. I do work with the zero-based budget just because I want every dollar to be counted for. I don't like money to just sit in my checking account and do nothing all day. So I'm gonna share with you how I work on my budget. Let's get to it. Before I get started, just a very quick disclaimer, I'm not giving any financial advice. I do believe that finance is not a one-size-fits-all, so what works for me might not necessarily work for you. Everybody has a different story, everybody has a different situation. So this video and this channel entirely is really just for me to share my knowledge and also to share with you how I was able to plan my finances and also how I was able to get off debt. I used to have over $25,000 in credit card debt. I had no idea what I was doing, was not budgeting at all. It wasn't until I started to budget and write down all of my numbers that I realized I was overspending and not saving money. So this is definitely the tool that helped me get my finances together. So it is really important if you feel like you're not making enough or you're living paycheck to paycheck, this is a really great tool for you. So without wasting any more time, let's get to it. So what's important to know is that when you're making a budget, you have to know what your income is. So you want to write that down. You also want to write down what your expenses are. And you want to know how much you have left after paying all of your bills, because this number here is the important number. This is the amount that you're going to distribute into different accounts. One of these accounts is going to be an emergency fund. Everyone needs to have an emergency fund, at least, at the very least, $1,000, because this amount oftentimes represents a deductible for an insurance, or it can represent other things, but 1,000 is definitely the list. Next, you also want to have enough for sinking funds. These are bills that are up and coming, or projects that you have coming up that you don't necessarily pay for month to month, but you do have them coming up, so you want to budget them in. Then you have savings and investments. So this could be short-term, medium-term, or even long-term. It's important to have them as well. And at the very end, we have our fun/entertainment account. These are all important things that you want to include into your budget month to month. So knowing all of this, let's start with the very beginning, our income. So I like to work with this layout. I like to have my budget on 2 pages. Page number 1 will be my paycheck number 1. Page number 2 will be my paycheck number 2. I also like to separate my accounts into columns. So I have more than one checking account. I know a lot of people operate with more than one. So I write here checking account number 1, checking account number 2. I also have a credit card. I do use my credit card a lot. I know a lot of people out there are against it, and I find that credit cards, it's either you love it or you hate it. I personally love credit cards. When used responsibly, I think it's a very important tool, especially if you know how to use it. And because I do use my card responsibly, I try to put as much as I can into my credit card. So I have a column here just for that. Then the last column is for my husband's account. So we do split our bills 50-50. So all of our joint bills, I put them over here, and all of the bills that are just for him, his personal finances, he does that separately. So I start with my income, my expenses here. All of these expenses will be coming out of all of these expenses will be coming out of the paycheck number 1. All of these expenses here will be coming out of paycheck number 2. And then over here at the end, I have the end balance for the month. So So let's start by writing my first paycheck. This will be deposited into my paycheck number 1. So this is $16.25. From this, we have all of these expenses here. So I have my mortgage. This is $600 for me, $600 for my husband. This is a joint expense. We do live in a condo, so we do have condos fees. So this is $80 for me, $80 for him. Then we have our insurance. We have home insurance, life insurance, and car insurance. So home insurance is $27. That's $27 each. Then we have life insurance. This one is $38 for me. He has his own, so I'm just gonna leave that out. Car insurance, I pay $60. He has his own, so I'm gonna leave that out. Then I have a car loan. I pay $198. I pay 2 times a month, so one bill will be coming out of my first paycheck. Second bill will be coming out of my second paycheck. I also have a personal loan. I pay $84 a month. Then I have a TFSA and an emergency account. So my TFSA, I personally contribute $700 a month, and I like to split that into 2. So one for each, half for each paycheck. So here I'm going to put in $350, and the other $350 will be coming out of my second paycheck. Then I have my emergency fund. I like to set aside $100, and that's it for my first paycheck. Let's go on to paycheck number 2. Again, another $16.25. And for this, we have gas. So I usually set aside $100 for gas. Then I have groceries. That's $500 for me, $500 for my husband. Then I have my second car loan payment. That's $198. And then I have my cell phone. I pay $120. Now, $120 looks like a lot, but I'm actually paying for 2 phones. So I'm paying for my phone. I'm also paying for my son's phone. Notice how I wrote these expenses here on the credit card column. So the reason why is because, like I said earlier, I do use my credit card for everything. I always have my credit card with me, never, ever, ever, ever use debit. I do have a credit card that pays me cash back. I do get high cash back for groceries and gas. I also get amazing benefits like insurances, points. It's just a great tool to have. So for me, it's definitely worth it. And then here, the loan gets taken out of the checking account. So I don't pay credit with credit. Every time I have a loan, mortgage, or anything like that, it goes straight to my checking account. Let's continue. So next we have the internet. I pay $30. Husband pays $30. This is coming out of the credit card again. Subscriptions. So subscriptions, $18 for me, $18 for my husband. Again, this is taken out of a credit card. Then we have electricity. I pay $45. Husband pays $45. This is taken out of my checking account. Now, all of these expenses are automated. So car loan is taken out automatically, cell phone, same thing, internet, subscriptions, electricity, everything is automated with the exception, of course, of gas and groceries. This one we pay as we go. Mortgage is taken out automatically, condo fees as well, all of my insurance, everything really is automated. So I would definitely suggest you get into the habit of automating your bills, automating your savings, automating your investments. It's just going to make life easier for you. Let's continue. Then we have sinking funds, TFSA fund, and my credit card. Now that we have our numbers, let's do the math and see how much we have for each and one of these columns. So let's start with the credit card column over here. So we have $100 for gas, $500 groceries, $120 cell phone, $30 internet, and $18 subscription. So this comes to a total of $768. So this amount here is the amount that I'm going to transfer to this over here, which is my credit card section. So $768 is what we're going to pay. I like to do it this way because I know I use my credit card all the time, but I want to make sure that I budget that into my checking account, because when I do receive my credit card statement, I know exactly how much I need to pay and I know that I have money to cover that statement. So $768 is what we put on our credit card, and I'm going to be able to pay that because I'm budgeting that into my paycheck. Another reason why I like to have a credit card and use it as much as I can is because I don't have to worry about when these expenses are coming out. They are automated, so they just get taken directly from my account. And at the end, all I have to worry about is the statement, the date that I have to pay that off. So the due date is really what you want to keep in mind for this expense over here. Now we just have to find our sinking funds. Our second TFSA contribution will be $350, and our fun expense. So the fun expense, usually what I do is whatever I have left at the end of the month, that's what I'm going to roll over onto my fun account. I don't like to budget in a specific amount. It really all comes down to whatever I have left at the end of the month. That's the amount that I'm going to use and put that into my fun account. Sinking funds. So for those of you that don't know what sinking funds is, it's really your short-term expenses. So anything that is coming up, it could be like a project, like vacation, it could be gifts that you buy for friends and family, birthdays, it could be a large expense that's coming up, you want to buy a computer, car repairs, it could be expenses that you don't necessarily have month to month, but you will have during the year. So you want to prepare in advance and budget them in month to month so that when they do come up, you have the money available. So this is an example of my sinking funds. I did the math very quickly, so let me show you. I plan for car maintenance, Christmas, car registration, my driver's license, and birthdays. So for car maintenance, I have that 2 times per year, so that's $200 2 times, that's $400. Christmas, I usually set aside $1,500. Then I have car registration, $200, license, $100, and birthdays, $800. So in total, $3,000. And I like to divide that by 12 and set aside $250 a month. Now, there is a different way to calculate this to be more accurate, and that's how many paychecks do you have leading up to the date that you will need to have the funds available. I'm not going to go into that just yet, just because that's a whole other video, but just to make things a little bit simple and easy, I'm just going to write them down like this and just set aside an equal amount every month. So for me, that's $250. So I'm just going to go ahead and write that on here, $250 for sinking funds. So now we have everything here ready. We have our total for our visa. We're just missing our fund section here. We're going to get to that at the very end. So let's calculate our first paycheck. So $1,625 is what we have as income. Let's calculate our first column. So that's $600 for mortgage, $80 condo fees, $27 plus $38, and $60 for the insurance. Then we have $188 for the car loan and $84 for the personal loan, $350 TFSA contribution, and $100 for the emergency fund. So that comes to a total of $1,537. So what we do is we take our starting point, which is $1,625, that's our paycheck. Then we're going to remove $1,537, which are our expenses, and that leaves us with $88. So because we have $88 at the end of our first paycheck, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this amount and I'm going to roll over to our next paycheck, because you should have this in your checking account. So then you'll have $1,625 deposited. And I say you as if it was you, it's really me. But yeah, so but you would apply this concept to your own numbers. So $88 is what I have at the end of the first paycheck. To this, I'm going to add $16.25. And to the number that I have here, I'm going to remove the total of the first column, which are our expenses for paycheck number 2. So let's calculate that. So we have $198 for the car loan, $45 electricity, $250 sinking funds, $350 TFSA contribution, and then $768 for our credit card bill. So that gives us a total of $1611. So now let's do the math. 88 plus 1625 minus 1611. So that leaves us with $102. That's great. This $102, like I said earlier, this is the amount that I'm going to transfer to my fund account. Because at the end of the month, I have covered all of my expenses. I've covered my emergency fund, and I've covered sinking funds, so upcoming expenses. I've also contributed to my TFSA, so long-term savings, long-term investments. I also have my credit card, my bills, everything has been taken care of. Whatever I have left, I'm going to put that into my fund account, and I'm going to spend it on whatever I want. So if I want to go shopping, if I want to order in or go out, whatever the expense is, I like to know that I'm able to spend on it guilt-free. So because we're transferring the amount that we have left at the end of the month, $102, we're putting this into our fund category. We now have $0 left at the end of the month. So this is what a zero-based budget looks like. We're using all of our dollars, we're giving them a job, and we also know where everything is going. And at the end, we should have $0 because everything is been counted for. I love this strategy because I know where all my money is going, and also I tell my money where to go in advance. So usually I'll prepare my budget before the beginning of the month. This way there are no surprises. I'm able to automate everything and plan ahead of time. So I just want to quickly go back to the emergency fund over here. I put aside $100 a month. For me, that's enough. I've been budgeting for my emergency fund for a really long time. But if you're just getting started, start with $1,000. That's a really good starting point. But if you want to know how much you should set aside, a lot of people think that an emergency fund is the total of your income, and that's just not the case. It is, in fact, the total of your expenses that you will need month to month. So a lot of experts say that you should have somewhere between 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. Others say that you should have 6 to 12 months of your monthly expenses. I say start with $1,000. That's the minimum you should have. Aspire to get to that point. Once you're there, then just build up to 3 months, then build up to 6, and so on. But you first have to find what your number is. How much do you need for the month? So now that you have your budget, you know exactly how much you need. So let's do the math together. So I'm going to use all of the expenses that I need month to month that are essential. I'm not going to budget in the TFSA. I'm not going to budget in the emergency. I'm also going to leave out sinking funds, my fund category, really just survival mode. How much do I need and what do I need it for? Just really, if I were in survival mode and I have no more income, how much do I need to live and survive for that month? So let's do the math. So mortgage, it's definitely an expense that I need. For me, condo fees, I need that. Insurance, I need all of those as well, so I'm going to calculate them. Car loan, I need that, and personal loan, I need that as well. Now, if you have any debt, what you want to do is you want to calculate the minimum payments for all of the debts that you have. not the surplus that you're willing to set aside, but really just the minimum payment. Then I'm gonna go on to second page. So I need gas for sure, I need groceries, I need my second car loan payment, then I need my cell phone, internet, subscriptions. I'm going to add that just to make this video simple, but in reality I would not include that just because I can survive without it. I don't need them. So in this situation, it gives me $19.45. Oh, and I can't forget the electricity, $45. So in this situation, I actually need $2,098 for my month. So I recalculated everything, but I left out all of my short-term, medium, and long-term savings and really just focus on the expenses that I'll be using or needing month to month. So my number here is $2,098. This is what I need to survive for the month. So I'm going to start with $1,000. So if you're a beginner, you want to start with $1,000, and like I was saying earlier, you want to build your way up. So if we're going to focus on having 6 to 12 months, we need to find out what 6 months worth of expenses is. So we're going to take our $20.98 and we're going to multiply that by 6. So that comes to an amount of $2,588. We also want to know what 12 months is. So we're going to do the math again for 12 months. This is $20.98 times 12. So that's $25,176. Now I know this looks like a lot, but this is just to give you an idea of what you should have in your emergency fund to cover your expenses month to month in the event of an emergency. So if there's a job loss or if you're sick and unable to work, you now have enough to cover your essential expenses for the month. So this here is your range of how much you should have. But step number 1 would be to start with 1,000, build up to 3 months, build up to 6 months, and build up to 12 months. This is just to give you an idea of what to look for, how much you should have in that account. You should aspire to have these amounts in your emergency account. So there you go. We've covered emergency, we've covered sinking funds, we've covered fund account, we looked at our credit card. So this is a pretty complete budget, I would say. This is a strategy that I've been using for a really long time. It's helped me cover all of my bills, covered all of my upcoming expenses. I know my credit card's being taken care of in full. I also know that I'm saving for my future. I'm contributing to my TFSA every paycheck. I'm also contributing to my RSP, but I don't have that on here because I have direct contributions. So that's taken from my paycheck before the funds are deposited into my account. So the $16.25 is after RSP contributions. So I have a little bit of everything. Now, I know your situation might be different. This is really just to give you an idea of the things you should be writing in your budget, things that you should be taking into account, thinking about. I know a lot of people will just get their paycheck, cover the bills, and whatever they have left at the end of the paycheck, spend it all. Same thing for the month, whatever they have left at the end of the month, spend it all. Without even thinking about their future, without even thinking, oh, in 2 months I have car repairs coming up, car maintenance, I have to change my tires, or without even thinking, I have to pay for my driver's license, or put it all in their credit card, and not thinking that that needs to be budgeted in from their paycheck as well. So then they get their credit card statement and they're like, uh-oh, I forgot I spent money on that, right? So putting it all in writing definitely helps to know and plan in advance what you're going to be using your money from your paycheck, how you're going to be spending it. What I suggest and what definitely helped me is not only to write it down, but also to automate everything. Automate expenses and automate savings. My TFSA contributions and my RSP contributions, they're all automated. Everything is taken directly from my account, so I don't even have to worry about. My RSP is taken from my paycheck before it hits my checking account. My TFSA contribution is taken from my checking account automatically. So I don't even have that money available for me to go and spend it. And then all of my bills are taken automatically as well. You can even automate your credit card bill from your checking account. Everything can be automatic, and this definitely helps out to cover all of your bills and not forget for anything, not be late for anything, and not have any money available so you can just go and spend it and shop. So because I plan for my budget before the month, usually as I'm paying these bills, I'll just come and I'll check mark everything as they're being paid. So this helps me to know when I look back, okay, well, this has been taken care of, this is done, so I know what's left. Another thing is I also do like to work with spreadsheets. I use my spreadsheet all the time, but I'm also very paper. I'm a little bit old school. I do like to use paper. I like to write things down. I like to highlight. I also like to put in stickers on the edge and all around just to make it look cute. It helps me stay motivated as well. This is a budget that I made myself, but if you're interested, the link will be in my description. You can get it from my website. Now my TFSA, I put in $700 a month into that account. I don't just leave it there, I'll invest it. So in this channel, I'm not just going to cover budgeting, but I also want to work on finances in general. So not only how to budget your money, but paying down debt, that is really, really important, saving money, and also investing. I'm going to make another video where I talk about my TFSA and how I invested. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and subscribe to this channel. So there you have it, you guys. That is how I budget. So I really hope that you like it. I really hope that it's gonna help you. If you've liked it, all I ask in return is that you hit the like button. Show me a little bit of support. It is a new channel, so it's going to help me a lot. And I definitely have lots of more videos coming up. So if you want to watch them and not miss them, you can hit the subscribe button as well. If you have any questions or anything you want me to go over again, just leave me a comment. I'll be glad to answer all of your questions. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, you are awesome. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.